Hey guys, welcome back. So today, I don't know if you can tell, but she's snowing. We're supposed to get 3 to 6-ish of snow. We probably already have. It's a nice trace, probably a 1/4 inch or so. So today is gonna be the first day of the winter season that we're gonna run the Snowmelt. So it's the first time I've run the Snowmelt since I've kind of redesigned some things on it. Hopefully it's gonna be more efficient, and the first time with this boiler. Before I used to run it with the G10000 gasifier. So some of you guys that don't know, all of this is heated all the way. You can kind of see the line right here. This is all the new portion of the driveway, and it ends like right in here. So pretty much it's roughly 4,000 square feet of 6 to 8 inches of concrete. It does go into here a little bit past the stripping. It probably goes all the way to that post, and then I have over here all the way to the floor drain from the edge there to here, all the way to here, pretty much where all the snow is. This is all heated as well. So I've always said recently that I was always gonna preheat the slab so I don't have this, but I had an appointment this morning, and since this is the first time with the new design, I want to make sure there's no leaks and everything's running properly. Because what I did was, now the loop that goes to this very large heat exchanger is on its own dedicated loop now. It literally goes from the boiler pump straight here, straight back. It doesn't go to any other heater. Before, I had it going to my shop heater and my other shop heater. So now everything is on its own dedicated loop. I still have the kiln running, shops are still on, house is still on, hot water obviously. So she's gonna be put to work. So now we're really gonna see how the boiler handles it. And hopefully it runs a little bit more efficient now, because I got a very large pump just for this. So I'm assuming the heat loss on the loop shouldn't be as bad. It's still gonna be bad, meaning it's still gonna rob a lot of heat. So we'll just say on average 180 degrees, you know, comes through here into the heat exchanger. When the Snowmelt turns on, right now it's 20 some degrees out, mid-20s. The slab's probably almost exactly that. So I have 20-degree glycol coming back, not mixing, but getting heat exchanged with roughly 180 degrees. Before, it used to rob, the water going back would be around 100 degrees, which is not ideal. You know, you really don't want to go below 140. So I'm going to say now, with the larger pump, shorter run, less resistance, it'll probably be 120. And that should rise pretty quick. You get the initial jump about 20 degrees on the slab, and then it takes a while from there. But I'm hoping, and that's another thing, you don't want to bring it up too fast. You go from 20 up to, I don't know, technically you only really need to get the slab into the upper 40s for everything to melt. You don't really want to get too much hotter. You know, that's another thing. When everything melts, I got my thermal gun. I'll see what the temp is, but let's get her turned on here and make sure we're all running good. I'm gonna set a timer to see how long it takes to get the slab up, which it's gonna take a while. So she should turn on here when she notices the glycol's at a low temp. Set a timer. There we go. So we just started. Okay, so glycol should be flowing. And this temperature right here, it was at 120-ish. It's going to drop because now the glycol is getting circulated. It just went up, but it'll drop down. Right now it's at 125. And when it's getting mixed with the glycol, which is this loop, this is the boiler line, which is very hot. So the glycol should be, now that shows 85 degrees. That's going to drop big time as the glycol comes back. Like the return temp's dropping. Right now that's probably 40. That's going to probably max out at the 30 degrees. And eventually that'll come up. I can usually get this temp when it's fully operational up to temp. It'll be about 110-ish going out. I really don't want to go any higher than 115. Anything higher than 120 is not good. 115 is ideal. And then coming back, I've seen it, you know, 70 degrees, which is warm. Doesn't mean the top layer of the slab is that. The internal, the internal temp maybe, but the surface temp is never, because it's obviously anytime it snows, it's usually windy. You get a good gust of wind over the slab, it instantly cools it down. So it takes a lot of BTUs to heat concrete. So, and this boiler should have no problem. But we'll see. We're going to see how it goes. Like I said, I still got the kiln running. I'm not turning that off. That's priority. This isn't. But I want to test it out. Normally, I can do it from my phone. I can turn this on and not have to worry about it. So, but I just want to make sure. And everything right now looks good. Changed a lot of fittings. I changed all these fittings. Reprimed the system because the pressure looks good. We're at 24. Because I had a leak in it somewhere, an air leak, where over months and months that pressure would drop. So I know I was leaking somewhere. So I changed all these fittings, and it wasn't, I know the lines are fine because I would turn those valves and it would still hold pressure. It was, and I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact one of the fittings in there were leaking because I would have a little bit of glycol dripping. So I changed all those, changed the boiler lines. So we'll see. But right now we're doing actually pretty good. We have 115 being mixed, which usually that drops a lot. So I'm really kind of surprised on that. So like right now we have 90 going out, 95, and we're technically above 30 coming back. So I'm actually really surprised that it's that good so far. Now I also wonder that, because I don't shut any valves on the system, right, at all when I'm not using it. I'm wondering, since it's holding pressure, that the heat exchanger is still hot, that it's creating a natural slow, what do you call it, not draft, but it's naturally circulating because hot to cold, and it's pulling the glycol through. So maybe the lines were a little bit warm to begin with. So this is going out, which is still pretty cool. These are gonna be, yeah, these are like ice cold, but those will warm up. So I won't do a time lapse on the snow melting. I've done that in the past. I'll probably come back and in probably a couple hours give you an update, see how it's doing. I'll make sure everything's running properly. I'll let you know how the boiler's doing. So the biggest thing is, for those of you that don't know, what I have is, instead of the line going straight back to the boiler, I have it go through these tanks. And the reason for that, the separate tanks, is when that cold water comes back into here, it has to slowly mix into this, and then slowly mix into this one, and so on, right? So it slows the rate of the cooled water going back, which takes about an hour for all these tanks, maybe a little longer, to equalize to whatever the water's coming in. Yes, it's going to take a little longer for it to come back up, but as soon as that system starts to circulate, you know, not circulate, but get up the temp, turn off, and it just keeps going on and off every so often. So as it does that, it'll let those tanks come back up and the boiler can recover. Now I'm assuming with this big boiler that it should recover pretty quickly. So let's, sorry about that. I will come back in about a couple hours, let you know how everything's doing, how the Snowmelt's doing, and so on. So stay tuned. Okay, this is actually the next morning. As you can tell, it's probably about 5-6 inches. I turned it off last night around, I don't know, around 10 p.m. So there's still a little bit of residual. It was still snowing, but I just decided to turn it off. And a lot of this is from me driving the tractor on there. So I've done the rest of the driveway except up here. I just wanted you guys to see that it works. So I did a little bit of fussing around with it yesterday during the day. I forgot I still had to balance the loops when I re-purged the lines and whatnot. So I had to adjust some. A lot of it here I had to really adjust because it didn't have enough flow, but it works. Obviously none of that's gonna melt because it's not on the concrete. So, but yeah, it just reminds me. So right now it's low 20s. It's gonna get down to like single digits for tomorrow. And that driveway I've done with the tractor, the whole bottom layer is ready to sheet ice, and it's extremely slippery. It's another reminder why I want to do the whole driveway just like this. Just make things a lot easier, not to come out here and freeze. Just throw some wood in the boiler and call it a day. So, but yeah, you can see that it works. Obviously the edges are drying quicker. The slab's cold already again, so there might be a little bit of heat left in there, but yeah. So let me know what you guys think, but as always, keep burning.